Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates of the Panchatattva distributed the holy name to invoke love of Godhead throughout the universe, and thus the universe was thankful. Purport. Here it is said that Lord Chaitanya made the entire universe thankful to him for propagating the Sankirtan movement with his associates. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already sanctified the entire universe by his presence 500 years ago. And therefore, anyone who attempts to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sincerely by following in his footsteps and following the instructions of the Acharyas will successfully be able to preach the holy names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra all over the universe. There are some foolish critics who say that Europeans and Americans cannot be offered sannyas. But here we find that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach the Sankirtan movement all over the universe. For preaching work, sannyasis are essential. These critics think that only Indians or Hindus should be offered sannyas to preach, but their knowledge is practically nil. Without sannyasis, the preaching work will be impeded. Therefore, under the instruction of Lord Chaitanya, and with the blessings of his associates, there should be no discrimination in this matter. But people in all parts of the world should be trained to preach and given sannyas, so that the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement will expand boundlessly. We do not care about the criticism of fools. We shall go on with our work and simply depend on the blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, the Panchatattva. Kindly repeat the translation. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates of the Panchatattva distributed the holy name of the Lord to invoke love of Godhead throughout the universe. And thus, the entire universe was thankful. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing in this purport that everyone who sincerely follows Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be able to effectively preach the holy name everywhere. Not just in the world, he says the entire universe. Especially he focuses on the need for sannyasis for the preaching work of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Before we discuss the importance of or the role of the sannyas ashram in the preaching, which Srila Prabhupada extensively discusses in this purport, a mention that preaching is not the exclusive preserve of the sannyasis would be in order, because in this line here, Prabhupada mentions that anyone who follows Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can preach and indeed should preach. What is the real definition of sannyas? It is not just an external ashram. It is actually an attitude. It is an engagement in Krishna's service, being completely detached from this world. Being detached from one's own desire for sense gratification, being completely absorbed in the Lord's service is real sannyas. As Lord Krishna himself declares in the Bhagavad Gita, Anashritaha karma phalam karyam karma karoti yah sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyah. He says that one who works engages in activity but without any attachment to the fruits of that activity. Anashritaha karma phalam. Karma phalam means the fruits of one's activities. So when one engages in work without attachment to the fruits of one's activities, and we understand, of course, that this means that we perform work for the pleasure of Krishna, for propagating Krishna's message. Sa sannyasi cha yogi cha. Such a person is called a sannyasi and a yogi. Not one who doesn't light the fire, or not one who is inactive. In other words, people generally think that a sannyasi is one who is inactive, in the sense he is not so much keen about, he's not active in this world, but that's not a fact. Bhagavad Gita says a sannyasi actually has to be very active, but has to be active in the service of the Lord. So from this standpoint, we can see that regardless of which ashram we belong to externally, as per the Varnashrama system, anyone, be it male or female, be it child or an elderly person, if that person is engaged thoroughly in the Lord's service without any selfish motives, then that person is a sannyasi in spirit. However, Lord Krishna or Prabhupada explains that the external order of sannyas is also essential, because that's what people respect in this world. People respect the sannyas order of life, and therefore we utilize this principle for the sake of preaching. Whatever helps for preaching, we usually do. So if that's what's going to help for preaching, then so be it. So then some people should take sannyas. So it's something that has been borrowed from the Varnashrama Dharma into the Vaishnava Dharma by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, and many of the Vaishnava Acharyas in other sampradayas prior to them as well. Otherwise, as such, per se, the four ashrams have nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, purely speaking. Krishna consciousness can be done by anyone, anywhere, in any ashram, in any varna, and there is no material obstacle. But we see that great acharyas in the past did accept sannyas. Ramanujacharya took sannyas. He was a pure Vaishnava. Madhvacharya took sannyas. He was a pure Vaishnava. Nimbarkacharya, Vishnu Swami, they all took sannyas. And this might sometimes be a little confusing because we also hear this verse that is quoted sometimes. Ashvamedha Gavalambham Sannyasam Palapaitrikam Devarena Sutotpattim Kalau Pancha Vivarjayet. Which means there are 5 things that are prohibited in Kali Yuga. Kalau, that means in Kali Yuga. Pancha, 5. Vivarjayet, they are prohibited. So what are those 5 things that are prohibited in Kali Yuga? Ashvamedha, the sacrifice of a horse. In the earlier ages, a horse sacrifice was done quite commonly. We know that Lord Ram also did it, Yudhishthir Maharaj did it. But in Kali Yuga, it is not permitted. Gavalambham, even the sacrifice of a cow, but of course the cow was never killed. It was brought to life and given a new life again. Sannyasam, sannyas, that's what the verse says. Palapaitrikam, to offer meat to the forefathers. And Devarena Sutotpattim, to have offspring through the brother of one's husband. That was sometimes done in Dwapar Yuga, we see that happening. Vyasadeva was called by Satyavati when Chitrangada and Vichitra Virya had passed away. So those things were maybe possible in early ages, but in Kali Yuga these are not possible, not recommended. In fact, they are prohibited. So why then is sannyas taken? Why have these great acharyas across all the Vaishnava Sampradayas taken sannyas? Even those who are not in the Vaishnava Sampradaya have taken sannyas, like Shankaracharya, for example. So the answer is for the sake of preaching. Etam cha asthaya paratmanishtham adhyasitam purvatamair maharshabhihi aham tarishyami durantaparam tamo mukundangri nishevayaiva. The Avanti Brahman in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam explains in his prayers to the Lord that now with great determination I shall proceed on the same path that was trodden by the acharyas in the past, the great sages in the past. I will follow in their footsteps, and thus, by being firmly fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Mukunda, Lord Krishna, I shall cross over this insurmountable ocean of material existence. So that is the spirit of sannyas. And till today, and that was a spirit taken by Mahaprabhu as well. So all followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recite this mantra and accept the spirit of this mantra in their life when they take sannyas. So taking sannyas in this world really means, as far as Vaishnavas are concerned, to not only reinforce one's commitment to a life of renunciation, but especially to preach the message of Krishna everywhere, far and wide, all over the universe. Prabhupada says we can't travel all over the universe, but at least all over the world, or all over the country. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself took sannyas for this very purpose. There was no need for him to take sannyas otherwise. He was a teacher of grammar, and when he went to Gaya to perform the last rites, the Shraddha ceremony of his departed father, Jagannath Mishra, a great transformation happened. He took initiation from Ishvarapuri, and then his ecstatic symptoms of love for Godhead, for love for Krishna, developed in a most remarkable way. And he seemed like a person who was intoxicated by love of Godhead. He was constantly chanting the holy names of Krishna. And when he came back to Mayapur, transformed in this way, all the devotees and even the other residents of Navadvip were astonished to see this. The devotees, of course, were overjoyed. And the others who were non-devotees, they thought something had happened. Maybe there was some deformation of the bodily airs, or maybe some kind of black magic or something had happened, that he had become mad or something like that. They could not understand these things. But the devotees understood very well what had happened. So Mahaprabhu continued to preach like this. He started the Harinam Sankirtan, and even to his students, he would turn every grammar lesson into a Krishna conscious lesson. He would explain the verbal roots by connecting them with Krishna, by explaining how Krishna was a source actually of all the verbal roots and so on. And one time when he was absorbed in Krishna Leela, he was sitting there and chanting in the mood of Vrindavan. He was chanting Gopi, Gopi. And one of the Brahmana students happened to come nearby, and he heard Mahaprabhu chanting like this. So he commented, he said, "Why are you chanting Gopi, Gopi? What benefit will you derive by doing this? You should chant the holy names of Lord Krishna. At least you will get piety, because that is what the scriptures say, that we should chant the holy names of Krishna. And leaving aside the names of Krishna, you are simply chanting Gopi, Gopi." This Brahmana boy, who dared to admonish Mahaprabhu thus, was not aware of the intricacies of devotional service, especially in the mood of Vrindavan. Neither was he aware of the exalted position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the mood in which he was chanting Gopi, Gopi. Mahaprabhu was, of course, absorbed in the mood of Vrindavan and therefore was chanting like this. So then Mahaprabhu, he was Nimai Pandit at that time, he continued in that mood. And he replied, "Why should I chant the name of that plunderer? You can never trust him. Just see what he did. He killed that innocent Vali." The reference was to the brother of Sugriva in the Ramayana. When Krishna appeared as Lord Ram, and he assisted Sugriva to regain his kingdom, he had to kill his older brother, Vali. And he killed Vali when Vali and Sugriva were engaged in combat. So from an external point of view or a material point of view, it might appear that Lord Ram was quite unjust in doing that, because he surreptitiously killed him, almost like a subterfuge. So then Mahaprabhu is saying here, why should I chant the name of that person who killed an innocent Vali like this? And then he said, the same Krishna, he cut off the nose of a woman, referring to Shurpanakha, who had approached Lakshman and Ram in the forest. So then Shurpanakha's nose had been cut off. And similarly he said, why should I chant the names of that cheater who took away everything from Bali Maharaj? He cheated Bali Maharaj. He came there in the guise of a young Brahmana boy. And he asked for some 3 paces of land in charity. And in all innocence, Bali Maharaj gave away that. He said, yes, I have to do my duty as a Kshatriya. You are a Brahmana who has come here. You want 3 paces of land? By all means take it. And then just see what he did. He took away everything from Bali Maharaj and left him a pauper. So why should I chant the name of this Krishna? And then in anger he started advancing menacingly towards this Brahmana boy. And the Brahmana had to flee for his life because Nimai Pandit was quite big in size, So he fled and went back to his friends. And he said, you know, my friends, I've been through a real experience. I've just escaped by the skin of my teeth. I would have been probably dead by now. So what happened? You know, this Nimai Pandit, you know, he's become a demon. He was chasing me with a stick in his hand to beat me to death. And it's only by the arrangement of providence that I escaped. And what was my mistake? My only mistake was I asked him to chant the names of Krishna. And look what he has done. So all the friends became enraged. They said that this Nimai, what does he think he is? Does he think that because he is the son of Jagannath Mishra, he can do anything he likes? Our fathers are also equal to Jagannath Mishra. We are also Brahmins from the same high caste. How can he treat us in this way? The next time he does anything like this, we are all going to gang up and teach him a lesson. So they were making all these plots about how they could teach Mahaprabhu a lesson. So Mahaprabhu is the super soul. He is in everybody's heart. So he understood what all of them were talking about. So then he began to reflect that the plot is going wrong here. I came with a script, and there's something going off the script here. I came here to deliver everybody. And all of a sudden we see that, something's going awry here. And then in one meeting with the devotees, he said, the Ayurvedic herb Pippali Khand is meant to relieve one of trouble of mucus. But this Pippali Khand seems to have increased the mucus in the body. So nobody understood what Mahaprabhu meant when he said this. It was like a mysterious statement. What was the context? What was the meaning? No one except Nityananda Prabhu understood. Then Nityananda Prabhu reflected upon this and thought, this means Nimai is going to take sannyas. And he approached Nimai in a private place and said, Nimai, what's up? What do you plan? So Nimai revealed his mind and said, yes, I'm going to take sannyas. And Nityananda Prabhu was heartbroken. He said, how can you do this to us? And what about your mother? Your widowed mother? How can you do this to everyone? You can't do that. But anyway, you are the independent Supreme Lord, what can I say? Please discuss with the other devotees and get their opinion. Once you have heard their opinion, then you may do as you like. So of course, eventually, Mahaprabhu went on to take sannyas. He left home. It is a very, very heartbreaking description in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, where Vrindavan Das Thakur elaborates at length the condition of the devotees in Navadvip when they came to know that Mahaprabhu would be taking sannyas. Mahaprabhu had explained to Nityananda Prabhu, he said that, look, the very people I came to deliver are now hatching plots against me and they want to beat me up. And that's not something nice for them. They will have to go to hell forever because they're doing this. So if by my coming here, I'm going to send people to hell, what's the use? I came here to actually deliver people from hell, not to send them to hell. And now they're disrespecting me like this. Therefore, I will take sannyas. When I take sannyas, these very same people who are threatening to beat me up, they will actually come in front of me and offer respects to me. And because they offer respects to me, thinking me to be a sannyasi, not knowing me to be the Supreme Lord, they will be delivered. So for the sake of for the sake of the fulfillment of my mission, I will accept the sannyas order of life. And of course there is an elaborate description thereafter. And finally Keshav Bharati Maharaj, who is also a great devotee, he is Akrura from Krishna Leela. Because Akrur took Krishna away from Vrindavan to Mathura. So the people in Vrindavan don't like Akrura. So similarly, Keshav Bharati Maharaj was the one who, by giving sannyas to Mahaprabhu, to Nimai Pandit, took him away from Navadvip. So none of the residents of Navadvip would like Keshav Bharati Maharaj. So anyway, he gave sannyas to Nimai Pandit, and he was thinking, what name should I give? Of course, the mantra which he gave him was also given by Mahaprabhu himself. When Nimai told him that, I had this dream. Is this the mantra you wanted to give me? And Mahaprabhu and Keshav Bharati Maharaj said, this is the most extraordinary mantra I've ever heard. Yes, this is the mantra I will give you. So he spoke that mantra into Nimai Pandit's ear and initiated him into the sannyas order of life, having been first initiated as a sannyas, Vaishnava sannyasi by the Lord himself, when the Lord spoke that mantra to him. Then Keshav Bharati began to wonder, what name should I give him? Normally, of course, the Bharati Sampradaya is a Sampradaya of the Shankaracharya school. In other words, the Advaita school, the monistic, impersonalistic school. And the tradition there is that if you take sannyas in any particular branch of the Shankara school, you get the same name, the same title. For example, those who take initiation from the Puri branch of the Shankara school are given some name followed by Puri. Or if you take sannyas in the ashram school, you get a name followed by ashram, which is like a title. Similarly, those who take sannyas in the Bharati school get a name followed by the word Bharati. So Keshav Bharati was contemplating what name he could give Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Nimai Pandit. So he touched his hands to Nimai Pandit's chest, because that's the procedure, you're supposed to hand the name like that. So he touched his chest, and then he was inspired from within. He said, yes, because you are constantly chanting the holy names of Krishna and inducing everybody else to do so, and you are purifying their consciousness and making them Krishna conscious. And the Sanskrit word for consciousness is Chaitanya. And because you're planting Krishna into everybody's consciousness and making them Krishna conscious, I will give you the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya. That was his sannyas name. Actually, it's not a sannyas name, because a full sannyas name must include Bharati or Ashram or Puri, Aranya, or some term like that. Or Swami or Goswami. But that wasn't so for Mahaprabhu. Krishna consciousness, that's it. Because you spread Krishna consciousness everywhere, I shall give you this name. So Nimai Pandit received the name Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Short name, and that was it. Now here also Kaviraj Goswami uses this sannyas name of Mahaprabhu. Ei Panchatattva Rupe Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Of course, we also address him as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and so on. So this is the reason for Mahaprabhu's taking sannyas, to spread Krishna consciousness everywhere. Therefore, followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also do the same. Their only purpose in life is to become Krishna conscious and to spread Krishna consciousness everywhere. And Srila Prabhupada emphasizes here that it is the most urgent need of the hour in the world. While everybody in any ashram, in any situation of life, must participate in the preaching mission of Mahaprabhu, in particular Prabhupada mentions that sannyasis are required to preach, and no discrimination should exist when it comes to giving sannyas, whether one is a European or an American, or one may be of any so-called caste or creed or community. But if one is qualified, one should be given sannyas. One's bodily background or situation should not be a reason for not giving somebody sannyas. I think at that time, when Srila Prabhupada was writing these purports, because he was writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita purports only after he finished the Bhagavatam. So he had finished the Bhagavad Gita purports, he had finished the Bhagavatam purports, he was starting the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he had also done Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, and so on. So by that time there were already many devotees all over the world. And of course the story of how the 17 volumes of the Chaitanya Charitamrita came to be published in a very short time is a stuff of legend. In just 2 months, Srila Prabhupada insisted that the proof should be ready, the transcription, the proofreading, the publishing, printing, everything has to be done. And in BBT, I think it was in Los Angeles perhaps, the devotees worked day and night. Most of them didn't give up even sleeping, or they would sleep just for a very short time. Because that was a deadline Prabhupada gave them. And somehow or the other, then the Chaitanya Charitamrita came out. Impeccable. Practically no mistakes in the proofreading and, typing and so on. So, at that time there were already many devotees all over the world. It was a flourishing movement, expanding. It was an exploding movement. And also by that time, Prabhupada had given sannyas to many of his disciples. And these sannyasis had also gone to India. And in India, they must have faced adverse, shall we say, opinions or criticism from smartas. Smartas means those who are, shall we say, blind traditionalists, who do not understand the spirit and the path of devotion. So they would criticize, saying that how can you give sannyas to Westerners? And there were some who were Vaishnavas even, and some even Gaudiya Vaishnavas, who may have said, how can you give sannyas to those who are born in different communities outside? It should be given only to those who are born in India, or those who are born in Hindu families, or those who are born in Brahmin families. So there were different conceptions and arguments of this sort that were presented at that time. And Srila Prabhupada naturally became quite disturbed upon hearing this, and therefore this very strong purport, where he says, we do not care about the criticism of fools. So he must have been hearing all this, and as he was writing his purports or speaking his purports, this news must have been coming in. So it was of topical interest at that time. So he took advantage of this verse to make this very important point here. So this is the principle that everybody must participate in the preaching mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu could have completed his mission at that time, but what would the rest of us in generations to come do if he had done everything? So he has left the job to us to complete, and therefore we can do whatever we can in terms of our abilities to spread Mahaprabhu's movement and to be the servants of the devotees. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments?